Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great Engine Podcast, Casting Out. Today we're casting out with our first set of guests, but I will start, of course, by introducing me and my co-host. Over here we have my main man, Noah, the king of combustion.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
And then you're going to introduce me.
Yeah, I was going to if you gave me a fucking second.
Jesus, dude.
Fucking idiot.
Off to a horrible start.
We are.
What the freak?
Shut up. And here with me, I have my co-host, Simon.
It's me.
The world record holder for the longest amount of time spent on the toilet with diarrhea.
It's true. I am actually fairly proud of that record. It was a good time.
It was a very, very great achievement.
Yes. And then, of course, we are joined by our two lovely guests. We have Abigail, the most out-of-touch person I know.
Hi.
And we have my wife. And my daughter. No, scoot back real quick so the camera can
We have names, you know.
get a shot on Violet. Violet, my daughter.
At least I get a name.
She's pretty sweet. And then wife. What's your name, homie?
Nicole.
Nicole. Very good. Okay, yes, this podcast is sponsored. We have two sponsors. The first one that we're going to hear from later, Soggy Roll. Wonderful website. Big fan of them. What's our second one?
Our second sponsor is Readable, an amazing company. We'll talk about them later in the episode.
Excellent. Here we go. The topic today is television shows from when we were all younger. Perhaps ones that we enjoy now. Man, I'm a big fan of Blue's Clues. All right?
Oh,
that was
shit.
my shit
No,
when I was
yeah.
little, right?
Same.
So, check this out. Ready? Steve. The OG Steve.
The GOAT.
The only Steve that I will ever acknowledge.
Well, they're not all named Steve,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah.
I don't really care. Anyone in that spot is named Steve as far as I'm concerned. And he was the GOAT, and he went and joined a band, or went to college, or whatever they said.
in the show, it was he went off to college.
But I think
Yeah.
in real life, he went and joined a band.
No, he was balding, and he didn't think he could, like...
He didn't want to be
show
bald
his-
on a
yeah.
kid's show. Yeah.
He was aging, and he didn't want to be old.
Well, they brought him back recently.
For the
and
movie.
They did,
He
yes.
wears a hat, and it made me happy that he was back. Asian Steve, I could do
Josh?
without. I don't care what his name was.
Josh.
And then the hunk, he was pretty cool. I never watched an episode with him, but he was kind of cute.
Joe?
So I was like, dang.
The guy in the middle?
Yeah, Joe.
Uh-huh,
That one.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I kind of fuck with him, but
Do you know the story as to like why he was dressed, like why Steve was dressed the way he is in the movie?
I haven't seen the movie.
Well, I haven't either, but I saw some videos of the actor who plays Steve talking about like what he wants to happen with the character, and basically what it is, he went to college, and when he finished college, because he spent all that time looking for clues with Blue, he became a PI, and he's a really bad one.
Oh,
And he was like, I imagine Steve went off to be a PI, and he's just, terrible at his job. And that's why he's dressed like that. I'm pretty sure they actually like went ahead with that like lore. And
that's really funny.
no, yeah,
I like that.
I just think that's dope that he just thought of this on his own, and then when they made the movie, they're like, "We got you, homie."
Honestly, like you can't let him walk onto your set for a Blue's Clues movie and tell him no. He comes on, you get him an enchilada if he wants an enchilada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that type of shit.
You want to
Yeah.
know what's crazy, too? I had some friends who I grew up with in high school. We were in theater together, but they went off to college and took, like, a video production class.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to make, like, a trailer kind of spoof of Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
But it was all adults, and it was about a murder investigation. And the clues were Blue's Clues. And there
That's
was, like,
fucking
blue
funny.
paw prints on
that's
all of the
funny.
different things. Like, this video got millions of views. It's still on YouTube. And like the real Steve, the original Steve, like recognized it and was like, "This is really cool."
You know what? I think I saw that TikTok of Steve talking about that.
Yeah?
I think so. I vaguely remember it.
It's really it's well put together. They went through a lot of filming for it. They had like 20 different actors all put together into it, and they were all from my high school. And it's like a murder investigation, but the serial killer is leaving these blue paw prints.
That's fucking
so
funny.
they found a way to like make it adult, and that's what was kind of cool
Yeah.
about it.
That's cool.
Excellent. All right, I went first. We're not going in any order necessarily, but I mean, I started off with a banger.
I'd love to bring up, because Abby and I were already trying to go off on a rant earlier about Phineas and Ferb.
Yep.
That was a good ass show.
There's
Yeah.
100 and something days of vacation. I had to figure out how
wrong.
to use them.
Didn't Bowling for Soup write that song?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, bless you.
Bless you.
Bless
Damn.
you. We were talking about whoever was composing the music, because honestly, like, I have not heard a song from Phineas and Ferb that isn't catchy.
Yeah. Great music.
Like, I bought the soundtrack when it came out.
Bot.
I did. The CD. I bought the CD when that first season came out, because that whole first season has great music.
You know what I find really funny about Phineas and Ferb is if you watch, because I remember when it first came out, and I remember watching a lot of it, but I didn't really start watching it until it had been out for a while, so there was a lot of new episodes. They changed the voice actor for Phineas pretty early on.
Really?
And they also changed his demeanor and the way he talked. If you watch, like, the first episode, the roller coaster episode, Phineas sounds really nasally, and he's also, like, a sarcastic asshole. Like, the way he talks to, like,
Yeah.
Isabella and everyone, he's a jerk.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, but
and
then-
they completely changed the show. Like, I think after the first season,
Yeah.
things are just different.
They either the voice actor changed his voice or they got a new voice actor, but he didn't sound as nasally. He still sounded like a kid, though, and they completely changed Phineas's demeanor and his attitude and the way he talked to people.
I think the same thing went for Ferb too. Like, in the first season, you hear his voice like at least once or twice every episode, and then season 2 and 3, it's like, does he ever talk?
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they just cut costs and got rid of a voice actor.
They
Yeah.
just couldn't afford to have one say 2 lines.
I have a lot in common with Phineas. His head is just my nose.
yeah.
So, I mean, I'm into it, honestly.
The
I identify with that
burrito
guy
ass
quite a bit.
fucking shaped head.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I am like,
Forward facing Phineas.
Do any of you guys follow Dan Povenmire
yes,
on TikTok?
this is exactly what I was going to say. I follow Dan on TikTok. I find it so
For
funny.
those who don't know, definitely not me. Who the fuck is Dan
He's the
Tovenmire?
voice of Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and he's also the creator of Phineas and Ferb.
Yes.
Excellent.
And I believe he writes every episode, right? Yeah. And recently he's been very active on TikTok, and
That's
I love
cool.
it.
Are they still making the show?
No,
Oh,
no.
that
But he
sucks.
will stitch videos of people, and I find it so funny.
Well, he'll
and
do the
it's
voiceover
nostalgic. Yeah, it's great.
Well, and he just recently found out that, like, so any platypus is not the color of Perry the Platypus, but he found out
No.
that in certain types of light, they are teal.
Yeah, in
so
the
he was,
water,
like,
right?
freaking out. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, my vision actually worked. Like, Perry the Platypus isn't, like, not... That's not how he's actually supposed to look, but it works because of
kinda
the
cool.
lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really excited about that.
I remember him going off about that. I saw that TikTok.
Yeah.
That's
He's
cool.
a great guy. I mean, honestly, you could make the smallest little TikTok about him and just say, hey, Dan, how's it going? And he'll find a way to respond, whether it's a comment or a video.
He must not have a lot going on.
I think he just loves his fans.
That and he made
He's
Phineas and
still-
Ferb, dude. He's got to be
Yeah.
loaded.
Yeah.
He
He doesn't
I-
have to
true.
do anything
Yeah.
if he doesn't want to.
drawing. He does some artwork too, so he's
Yeah.
doing some animation stuff.
I heard
That's
he,
cool.
I can't remember if he like talked about doing it or if he actually did, but I heard he worked on an episode of Family Guy.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving right along. Family Guy. Definitely not allowed to watch that growing up. But now that I'm an adult, that shit slaps. That's like my favorite show now. If I'm bored, like if you come over and I'm like, damn, bro, what you trying to do? We'll just bust out the Family Guy, and it's just absolutely incredible. And I learned a lot about pop culture because they're trying to reference things that people older than me will get. Like, oh, you remember that one time when George Bush did this fucking thing? And I'm just like, yeah, man.
This
I was
reminds
like
me of
2.
that time Kanye West was in Minecraft.
Okay, that was pretty good. But speaking of which, American Dad,
I've never watched American Dad.
don't bother.
Oh.
In my personal opinion, it's like they took Family Guy and they were like, let's make it more patriotic and just the same jokes but with an alien. And then it's just not funny. It's not nearly as funny, and it just reaches for the stars and just kind of falls on the ground and flops around a little bit.
It
Nice.
shows you what like any spin-off kind of does.
Yeah,
in
but
the world.
it's still got a ton of seasons, which is just really weird to me. Cause
Yeah.
it's like,
Because a
who's
lot of people
watching
really
this
liked
instead
it.
of Family Guy. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
Me no understand.
It might be like I'm an adult, but like I still want to be a kid, so I watch animated shit.
I saw an episode of like a clip from an episode of Family Guy where it was like a focus group. It was one of those like fourth wall breaking episodes. And they were like acting like they didn't get it and shit like that. And he was like, what do you mean you don't get it? All you have to be to enjoy Family Guy is born in the 80s, born in the 80s, but still be a teenager.
Nice. Okay. So, what about you, Abby?
As
What do you got? What do you,
shows?
yeah. What's something you grew up with, dog?
I want to bring up iCarly
Yes.
because
I remember that show.
That was my favorite show growing up.
I'm just
and
Spencer now, but fat.
Me and my family, we still reference the show to this day. I still find it funny. I feel like there's a lot of jokes that fly under the radar when you're a kid in that show.
Yeah. Like all the feet stuff.
Yeah.
That's Dan Schneider. That's Dan Schneider.
Yeah. No. But in the show, I feel like, yeah, there's things that fly under the radar that are funny now. And I just have such a big appreciation for it, honestly.
You want to know what's crazy? Simon didn't see it until we were dating, and I told him this is a great show and you'll like it. And the only reason he still likes it is because of Spencer.
We didn't have cable
Spencer
at all when I was growing up, and so I saw none of that.
We did,
None of
and it
anything.
pissed
Same
me
goes
off.
for Drake and Josh.
Because
I had to force him to watch it.
So I had cable growing up, but it always pissed me off because do you remember? Do any of you remember the channel Boomerang from
Yes.
Cartoon Network,
Yes.
the one that would play all the old cartoons? Once it hit 9:00
PM?
it would Once it hit 9:00 p.m., Boomerang started putting on the they weren't grown-up shows, they were still for kids, but they were like for older kids.
Yeah, I remember this.
And they were ones that weren't airing anymore because that's what Boomerang was about. But the first one they would play every night was a cartoon, The Batman, and it was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. But when I was at that age, my bedtime was 9:00.
Oh.
And it played from 9 to 9:30.
Did you sneak out?
No, what
into
I
the
would
living
do
room?
is I would sit there and I would just, because I would usually watch TV before the end of the day before I went to bed, I would just have it on and I would just hope my parents wouldn't realize it's 9:00 and just keep watching.
Did you ever catch it? The whole thing?
Yeah, multiple
Yes,
times.
dude, let's go.
Because but there were so many times where my parents came in and were like, "Hey, it's 9:00, time to go to bed," and I'd be like, "No." It would be like halfway through the episode. It'd be like 9:15, and my parents would come in and be like, "Hey, you got to go to bed," and I'm like, "But let me finish my show." And they'd be like, "No, you got to go to bed. You got school tomorrow," and I'd be like, "I hate it here."
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I get it. I used to get grounded for turning my TV on after my parents put me to bed. So.
You had a TV in your room. That's cool.
I
I did. It was one of those
Wow.
old box TVs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my
Mine had like the
gosh.
VHS player attached to it.
Yep.
Really
Oh,
tiny
man.
screen.
Oh, yeah.
The only screen my parents had in the entire house was in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was one of those tiny box screens
Oh,
with the VHS
no.
built in.
Yeah.
Mine didn't have a VHS built in. That was the one in our living room. The one in my bedroom was just a smaller one, but it had like the AV cables in front where you like the flip down the panel and then there's the red, white, and
Yep.
yellow.
Right.
What are some of your favorite shows? Do you like the video of the pineapple and the carrots bouncing?
Oh yes, Hey Bear,
yeah.
Sensory.
The
Oh, my
sensory
God.
video?
Yeah,
Dude, that's crazy.
She's not even
That's
mad.
what I sounded like when my parents told me to go to bed.
Yeah.
So a show I was thinking of that I feel like none of you have seen. Maybe you have. Jimmy Neutron.
I fucking love that show.
Oh fuck
Actually,
yeah!
no.
It was
Really?
Yeah.
It was so weird looking though. Everything about it. That
was like
entire show was a
almost claymation.
fever dream.
But not quite, yeah.
But I'd say that it's literally my favorite childhood show. Like I still remember my brother was born in 2002, and that's when they had the Jimmy Neutron movie out in theaters.
Oh.
So in order for my parents
Excellent.
to go to the hospital to have my brother, I was sent to go see the Jimmy Neutron movie in theaters with my aunt. And ever since then, it's been my favorite. All the episodes I had on my Video Now. Have you guys ever heard of a Video
Yes.
Now?
I have.
Yes.
I don't
So
know what
I had
it is, but I've heard that.
I had a black and white Video Now, and then when I had money to buy the color, I bought the color Video Now, and it came with these little tiny discs that you couldn't play on anything else but a Video Now, and it was sponsored by like Tiger Electronics or something like that.
Yeah, they're not in business anymore.
No.
They go.
But I had all the Jimmy Neutron episodes, and I mean, he was smart, but it was funny, and I liked the whole like 3D aspect of it because it wasn't SpongeBob where it's just 2D. I don't know. I miss Jimmy.
You know
and
the
you can't find him anywhere.
You know the production of that show was absolutely terrible.
Really?
Yeah, they would. There's some of the animators came out and said like, yeah, they would randomly lose power. all the time.
Oh.
So if they were working on an episode and they lost power, they would just go home for the day and come back the next day and hope the
Get
power
up.
was on.
Wow.
They were literally like finishing episodes the day before they aired because of how many technical issues they would have.
That sucks so
I mean,
hard.
that shows like the quality isn't super great sometimes. There's some episodes where it's like, wow, you put a lot of thought into this. And then there's some episodes where it's, ugh.
The entire movie is, wow, you didn't put a lot of thought into this.
Okay, just like you with The Incredibles, I can quote the entire Jimmy Neutron movie.
Yeah, but The Incredibles is actually good.
So is
The
Jimmy
Incredibles
Neutron.
is amazing.
The movie, they put a lot of thought into. The TV show, not so much.
I was not blown away by the movie.
With the TV show, they were just trying to get it aired.
Yeah.
If
Sounds
they
like
got
We
it
got a
aired, it was a
deadline.
miracle.
And we gotta go.
I love Jimmy.
All right, time to hear from our first sponsor, Soggy Roll. So, many of you have heard of the streaming service Crunchyroll. There's lots of anime there, some other horny stuff, and it's a wonderful streaming service for all things anime. And if you're into that, that is wonderful. It's the place to be for you. But Soggy Roll, on the other hand, it's a website where you get to stream for the low price of $10.99 a month every single episode of Breaking Bad in 420p.
Hell yeah.
It is the most wonderful website I personally have ever been to. Now, if you go to www.soggyroll.com and enter code GridEngine at checkout, you will get this service of Breaking Bad at 420p for the low, low price of $12.99.
Hell yeah.
Yes, you will actually pay more. And that's how we get paid. It's wonderful. So please go to www.soggyroll.com to stream Breaking Bad at 420p today. All right, ladies.
Anyways,
We're going to get back at it.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh, that's one that I didn't watch either.
Same.
Me
I-
neither.
Oh.
It's rated the number 3 best animated show ever made.
Really?
Yes.
How many seasons were there?
3.
Wow, that sounds like a really highly rated anime.
There was going to be a 4th, but they ended up, so they were going to make a 4th season, but they decided not to, and instead they made the movie that was awful.
Oh. And then they got canned.
Yeah, and
Idiot.
but now they have Avatar Studios, and they're making more shows.
Oh, really? They brought it back?
Yeah,
That's cool.
they're gonna bring it back, which is super cool. But Avatar: The Last Airbender was obviously it was a kids show, so it didn't get like too deep into it, and it wasn't like really graphic or anything. But it had a lot of really dark themes for a kids show: genocide, war, racism, sexism, stuff like that. And
It was ahead of its time.
it handled all these subjects really, really well. And there's just so much like adult conflict in this children's series that's handled really well.
Interesting.
And it's just amazingly written and just one of the best shows I've ever seen.
That's cool.
I was gonna say this does sound like something that adults would understand more than kids. So like when you first watched it as a kid, did a lot go over your head?
No, because they simplify it in a way that makes sense.
Oh.
But it's also, they handle it in a mature enough way that I can still enjoy it as an adult.
Awesome.
And there's also themes that now I get more. And now I understand more and on a deeper level now that I'm an adult.
You know, I have a similar series that I watched when I was a kid that was very similar to that. Same incredible writing, incredible animation, just absolutely insane. Totally deserving of any awards that Avatar.
I feel like
Not
this is a
ready
joke.
to hear
I feel like
I
this is
already know what this is gonna be.
No. Lego Ninjago.
Oh.
You know how
I
they-
actually fucking love that
right?
show.
That's what I'm saying. They made a show. I have all the DVDs.
Oh.
And
you do.
Oh gosh.
it's I would still watch it today. Absolutely excellent. Lord Garmadon, voiced by Mark Hamill. Dude, this guy's nuts.
Do you know who Mark Hamill is?
He's
He's the actor who played Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
Yeah.
from Star Trek.
Oh gosh.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's cool. Mark Hamill, dude, that guy slaps. Okay, so on the real note though, the other thing that I watched a lot as a kid, when I was at my grandparents' house and they had cable, and I could watch. I'll wake up in the morning, and then they'd send me back to bed because I was up at like 4. Then I wake up again. I watch the clock. Okay, it's 5 now. They gotta let me in there. And then I get up. Can I watch TV? Now go back to bed. Fuck. Go back. Come back at 6. 6 was the sweet spot. Come back at 6. And then I would watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, baby.
Yes.
On Disney Channel.
That was past my time.
I absolutely
Really?
loved
Oh,
that show.
My brother watched it. I
See,
didn't.
by the
So
time
did
I
I.
found that show on TV, I hated it because I
Oh.
had seen so many other stuff that I liked so much more, like Avatar: Last Airbender, The Batman, and stuff like that, that I kind of had, like, everything I watched, I wanted to have deeper levels and, like, and actually more of a story. And if it didn't, I was like, man, this shit's dumb.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse was just episode by episode. They'd
Yeah.
get into some fuck shit. The house would malfunction. And
Mickey
then
Mouse Catools.
they got to fix it, man. But that was my jam.
JJ the jet plane.
Where it was
Oh,
human
that
faces.
fucking
Yeah.
weird ass animation, like
Human faces on a plane.
So
nightmare fuel
scary.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Cars did it well.
And there
I
were
don't-
like
That show
5
didn't.
or 6 different planes that all had names and they
Yes.
worked together. And oh my god,
It was along the
worse than
same
Thomas.
lines.
Like Thomas,
Yeah, it was along the same
So
lines of Thomas the Tank and Dankin.
Thomas is like more animated, so it's kind of cute. But like JJ was a human face
And the
on a
gra-
plane.
Pretty
The
goofy.
graphics were so low quality that it
Oh,
made it
yeah.
like even scarier. Oh my gosh.
Because like
That
the
show.
animation was still being figured out in movies, so with
My brother
TV
loved
show
that.
budgets, it was way worse.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Okay,
ahead.
so another one. This was big for me. I know people don't really know what this is, but Fraggle Rock
Jim Henson.
niche. Yeah, Jim Henson. So
It's not as niche now because they literally were featured in the Macy's parade this year.
okay, good because they deserve more
It's,
love.
it's
okay?
like I feel like Fraggle Rock was like a sub series of the Muppets because
Yes.
it's Jim Henson.
yes,
But good music, good acting.
yes.
Lots of different characters.
And it was what I thought was interesting about this show is it has like an overarching storyline, but you could watch every episode individually and you
I
still
really
got
like
something
shows
out
like
of it.
that.
I think that's great. And like the characters that were part of this overarching storyline, which were like these big like monster things, and the guy who owned the house that the Fraggles like lived in, they would only show up like randomly throughout episodes. They didn't show up every episode, and then when they did, like it was this new piece of the story that you were able to like figure out. And yeah, I mean, I think Jim Henson, I think he's a genius. Like for everything that he does.
Completely
Yeah,
agree.
like all the Muppets. I think it's genius. So yeah, I don't know. I love Fraggle Rock, and people don't know about it, but
You know what?
Every
I got
morning.
That's what makes me think of Bear in the Big Blue House.
Yep.
Oh, was that the one with the like the talking moon where he would
Yes.
stay? Okay, I caught that a
Yep.
couple times. I didn't watch it, but I did catch it a couple times.
Just hit Disney Plus.
When I think of it, I more so think about the meme that Simon sends me where he's like sniffing the screen and goes,
I mean, honestly, yeah,
What's
he did
that?
that every episode.
Guess
"You're
what?
a bitch."
Yeah, no, he comes in.
Oh.
like
Guess what? You're a bitch.
Every episode he did some kind of sniff. But Bear in the Big Blue House was what my sister and I grew up on. They do a little bit of dual language, so like there's a little bit of Spanish in there depending on the character. And there's probably, I want to say, like 10 or 15 characters overall. It's all in one house. And they teach basic concepts, alphabet, math, basic math, easy sign language, that kind of stuff. So it was kind of similar to Sesame Street in a different way. And there was lots of songs. Like Sesame Street's really song oriented, but
Yeah.
Bear in the Big Blue House was like more musical-y, if that's a word.
that makes sense.
Dora slapped.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
fuck
it
yeah.
did. You know what was funny? Actually, at Thanksgiving, we were talking. My parents brought up Dora the Explorer, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the kids all loved it when they were young." And Amanda was like, "I hated it," and my dad was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because at one point when I was a kid, I cut my hair and then it grew into a bob, and
Oh.
I just was Dora." And then he was like,
Yikes.
"Oh yeah." The boys loved it. And then I said, yeah, I loved it so much. I was like, I need to get me one of those.
Oh. I was pissed when Dora transitioned into the whole Diego series. I don't
Go,
know.
go,
Yeah.
Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So,
just
like,
took her out of it. and
originally
just
in
fucking-
like I
I
want to
thought
say
they were
the
two
fourth or
separate
fifth.
entire series.
Well, in the 4th or 5th season, Diego came visiting as like a cousin or
Yeah,
brother.
he's her cousin.
Cousin. Yeah. So he would come and like be a part of every other episode or something. And then right before I stopped watching, like Diego became the star, and that's when they transitioned to Go Go Diego.
I didn't realize Dora stopped when Go Go Diego happened. I
Yeah.
thought Go Go Diego was like its own show that
No.
happened
Yeah.
on
I
the
thought
side.
that too. For
It
some
was a
reason.
spin-off because they wanted to cancel Dora.
Have you seen the new 3D animated Dora?
It's terrifying.
She looks terrifying. I
It's
saw a
terrifying.
picture of her with the caption that just said, "Dude, she looked like she bites."
Oof.
All right.
All right, now it's time to hear from our second sponsor, Readable. Read a fucking book.
Yep.
So, Readable's goal as a company is to get people to stop using their ears and start using their eyes. Because fuck your ears.
Correct.
And what Readable does is when you sign up for their service, they just send someone to your house, and they will break into your house, find you wherever you are, whether you're sleeping, watching TV, or whatever, and they will throw a book at your head as hard as they can. And then if you don't read it right after it hits you, they will beat you up.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you can go to their website, www.readable.fuckyou.com, and sign up for the subscription service of $9.99 a month.
Of course.
Or you can sign up for a yearly subscription, which is $200 for a year.
Oh, that's a deal.
Yeah, you
I
can
like
sign
that.
up. You can pay by month or by year.
Very good.
$9.99 a month or $200 a year, and yeah, have someone break into your house and throw a book at your head.
It's pretty exciting. Readable. Moving right along,
Can I propose one that I think that we've all seen?
please.
Drake and Josh.
Yes.
I enjoy Drake and Josh.
I only caught Drake and Josh every now and again because Drake was too rebellious, and my parents didn't like that, so they didn't like me watching Drake and
Ooh,
Josh.
Drake was a pretty naughty
Well,
boy.
To be
Things
fair,
have gone downhill for him.
this is another. Oh my
yeah,
god.
they've gone really
Whoops.
downhill for him.
Oh, this was a show I made Simon watch in our first year of life together. Yeah, I didn't realize how much Drake went through until that lawsuit last year.
Yeah.
That'll
it's
do
bad.
it.
Yeah, I see. I always enjoyed just the comedy of it all because it's again a Dan Schneider thing. So there's a lot.
I
of
relate
hidden-
thoroughly with Josh, not Drake.
Yeah,
I was a bit of a Josh.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, Drake. I guess he just never stopped dating those underage girls, huh? To
I
be
think-
fair, he still looks pretty much the same.
He does.
Yeah.
he never
He does.
grew out
So
of it.
those girls are probably like, man, he's probably 16. I don't know.
I find it funny that like when they started this show, Drake's whole goal was to like advance his music career.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that
they-
was common with Nickelodeon, though.
Well,
Yeah.
they would like force the parts with him playing his music. Those parts, like they would
Found a way.
they would designate an entire episode to, oh man, Drake's got a performance, we gotta get there, instead of, and like every time I was watching it as an adult, I'm like, I kind of want to skip this because the music sucks, I don't like this, and this isn't funny. It
Yeah.
felt very
Yeah.
forced,
There's a
and I was
whole
like, dude,
movie devoted to that. It's Drake and Josh Go Hollywood, and it was all
I
about
wa-
Drake
I
getting
remember
to
I
some.
watched the movie
Yeah.
and it wasn't good.
Yeah, all his whole goal was to perform on basically MTV.
Yeah.
And it was like like TRL, and I think actually they called it TRL. Regardless, he was going to perform on some teen show, and the whole like 2-hour movie is him trying to get to that and then performing at the end.
The part where Josh is in it and they're like fucking with those like guys printing money or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
I
funny.
vividly remember that scene because they're being carried like through a room, and Josh is saying "gentle, gentle, gentle," and then
Yeah.
they throw him in a room, and he goes, "I said gentle."
Yeah, like he's funny, and then Drake's there, and I think the whole movie was basically about him.
Yeah.
And I think he
Yeah.
took that a little bit too much to heart because the whole movie he's no longer funny. He's way too serious the whole time, and I'm just like, dude.
To be fair though,
stop.
as a like that was when it came out, that was my age bracket that they were aiming for. So I did crush on Drake Bell.
I think that's
the
what the
point.
point of it. He was the
back-
heartthrob.
Looking
I crushed on
back on
Spencer.
it now though, like
Like Carly.
if you look back at like Jesse McCartney or any of the other, like even Dylan and Cole Sprouse, at that
Yeah.
time it was that bowl cut, like
Yep.
skinny.
Justin Bieber hair
Right.
type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And at the time it was amazing, and now looking back, it's like, why the heck did I crush on that?
Yeah.
Like they really were just catering
Uh-huh.
towards that age bracket, and it worked. I mean, Drake and Josh is probably one of the most famous Dan
To be
Schneider
fair,
shows.
the iCarly reboot, I think, proves the point further that Nickelodeon somehow managed to cast almost exclusively humans that never look like they grew up.
No, yeah,
Yes,
Spencer looks
yeah.
like exactly
He
the
looks
fucking same.
the same.
So does Carly. That's the
Okay,
thing.
She looks a
has
little
not
No.
aged, I swear.
Her, if you look
She
at
just wears makeup now.
her head shape,
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
bit more defined and angular.
Oh.
And then Freddy looks very similar, but he just looks more like
Well,
his facial features
think
look
Freddy
a little bit
grew
more
up.
grown up.
He's
Yeah.
like
But-
5'5", so he's
Yeah.
never actually like looked like he's grown up. He's 5'5".
Yeah.
Dang.
But they
Short
do
King.
that. They do that on Disney too. And you guys probably have never seen Hannah Montana.
The
I
little
fucking
Yeah,
love that show, dude.
obviously.
Oh, really?
Hannah
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
So Hannah
Yeah.
Montana's brother,
Yes.
Jackson, Jason Earls, was 30 when the show started.
Yeah,
But
homie
he
was an
looked-
old ass dude.
He looked 15. And so
Good for him.
For the rest of his Disney career, he's played younger guys. He was still in shows up till like 10 years ago maybe. And he was in some other, I don't remember what it was
Wow.
called, but he was in some other shows. And he's now like edging like 45, 50.
That's pretty
something
impressive,
around
man.
that. And he still looks really, really young. So I think it's on Nickelodeon and Disney saying like, we could keep you for a long time because you're going to be young forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to know if it's like a height thing too.
I know part of it is shows like that try not to cast people under 18 because of like child labor laws.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they
The
try
shoot
to get
day
people
needs
that
to be
look
18
younger.
hours. I need this kid here.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna steal the show here. All right, ready? I'm gonna hit you with a couple Mark Wall bangs right here. Ready?
All right, you go for it.
Boom. Number 1, Wallace and Gromit. I watched that
Yes.
shit and it scared the fuck out of me.
Oh.
I
was
saw the
terrifying.
trailers and it scared me, so I
Yeah,
never watched the movie.
I hate claymation. It's
How-
so
Out
scary.
of all the
seen-
claymation, how is Chicken Run not the one we're talking about right now?
Chicken Run
No.
was terrifying too.
Although-
yeah,
That was terrifying.
just didn't
but
see
I
that
liked
one.
It. I liked it versus Wallace and Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit was absolutely terrifying, and my dad thought it was so funny. He's like, "Man, this is a great show." I'm like, "Bro's gonna give me nightmares. What the fuck?"
You know what also is claymation? Nightmare Before Christmas.
Never
I
seen
did
it.
know
Don't want
that.
to.
I've never seen it, but
All right, I got you guys a better one. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Penguins.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Like
Three,
penguins in Madagascar.
No.
What?
Penguins.
It was made by the people who did Veggie Tales,
Oh.
but it was later.
Yeah, and it was about these two kids who would go over to their grandma's house and stay at their grandma's house, and their grandma had this toy spaceship and these little porcelain like penguin figurines,
Yep.
and
It's a little bit like Toy Story.
it's a brother and a sister, and the brother takes the penguin figures and like stuffs them in the spaceship and is like, oh, playing like a kid, and then he like drops it or throws it or something, and it bounces, and then the ship just like turns on and starts like flying, and then they get like sucked into it, and then the penguins are alive, and all of their names end in Igel, I-G-L-E. It's
Not Kevin.
No, sorry, Kevin. Yeah, it's because like it goes through their names in the intro, like the ship flies and it goes to the captain, Zigel, and he like does his hair, and then it goes to the pilot, Midgel, and he like does some shit with the controls, and then he flies, and then it goes to the scientist, Fidgel, and he's like doing some shit
Yeah.
with like of like, what are those called? Elmeyer flasks or Emile? What are they called? Those flasks?
Estes flasks.
Elmeyer Flask.
Elmeyer flasks, and he's like doing some science shit, and then it like does a gun, and it shows this one like big doofy penguin, and goes, Kevin.
Yeah. And they would just go on adventures in the galaxy in their little
Wow.
spaceship.
Yeah.
And every time the kid came over to his grandma's house, he would find a way to get him in the spaceship, bounce it, and then he'd be sucked in.
I've
There were a
never
couple
heard that.
seasons, and it was
Never.
absolutely insane. My parents still have the DVDs, and I have half of mine to go on YouTube
That
after this.
kinda-
Dude,
and watch them.
honestly, they're so good. I
Yeah.
look do you remember the like bonus one that was just about the penguins without the kids, the Galaxy Gus? This is
I'm sure
the
I
story
remember it,
of Galaxy Gus.
Maybe.
I
It's
fucking
very,
love that
very
one,
blurry
dude.
for me. But yeah, that
Wow.
shit slapped.
Huh.
Kind of sounds like Magic School Bus in a way.
Oh,
A little bit.
I've
Magic
been-
School Bus slapped.
I
And
never
they went in
watched that.
Arnold's intestines. Not
I've
Arnold.
never-
Arthur. No.
No, it's Arnold.
That's
Arnold.
every
I-
day when you're walking down the street, Arthur.
Yeah, no, not that one.
Yeah, okay, to be fair, I loved Arthur. Magic School Bus, I wasn't allowed to really watch. It was never on PBS Kids when I wanted it to be. So I got to watch it at school. And now I've been playing it for my kids when I have a sub. that shit is really educational, and I had no clue.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
at first,
yeah.
like as a kid, you're like, oh, this is fun, this is an adventure, blah blah blah. Like I love Miss Frizzle and I love all these things, and then like now watching it, there are so many concepts that are taught so well.
Have you seen the Miss Frizzle thirst traps on TikTok?
No.
There's cosplayers who do Miss Frizzle thirst
I'm
traps.
sure. That's gross. Yuck.
Okay,
Go to hell.
I was gonna be Miss Frizzle for Halloween next year. I'll
You
take
gonna be
that.
you gonna be thirsty about
I
it?
will take that back. Oh Lord.
Thirsty Miss Frizzle.
Oh no. Mm-mm. No.
And PBS Kids Resort was that, dude. They had Arthur, they had Cyber Chase, they had Dragon Tales.
Between the Lions.
I can't remember some of the other stuff they had.
Oh.
I hated Caillou.
No. I never watched very much of those.
So
It
scary.
wasn't even that. I'm Caillou.
That shit sucked, bro.
Caillou. He was so annoying, and when he'd throw a temper tantrum for his parents, my parents would shut off the TV.
It's like Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
Do you know?
His parents just let him fuck around. And it's like, bro, what are you teaching your kids over
Do
there?
you know why Caillou was
Brit-
bald?
Why? Cancer?
No. Animators were too lazy. It was too.
nice.
It was too hard to draw hair in every frame, so they just made Caillou bald.
That's
boy.
fair. Have you guys ever heard of the show Max and Ruby?
Yep. Like
I'll never.
The bunnies,
Yeah. I'll never
Oh.
get over this one because obviously
dude. Max was done dirty
Max
every
was-
fucking
yeah,
episode.
Max was a troublemaker, but I'll never forget
No,
this
he
one
wasn't.
scene. I actually filmed
Free
it
my boy
a
Max.
while
He
ago
didn't do
for
nothing
a
wrong.
Vine because I thought it was hilarious back when Vine was a thing. There's this scene where Ruby and Max are playing badminton, and there's another name for a birdie. You guys know what it is?
Shuttlecock.
Shuttlecock.
Oh, shuttlecock.
So they're playing, and
I've
Max
seen
is like,
this.
"What is this called?" And she's like, "It's a birdie." He's like, "Doesn't it have another name?" And she goes, "Shuttlecock." And they just stare at each other for like 10 seconds in this kids show,
Nice.
and they're staring
that.
at each other. And then Ruby goes, "Yeah, maybe we should call it a birdie." And then they go back to playing.
Very
There
good.
you go.
All right. Bob
There
the
was a-
Builder. Can we
Oh,
fix
yeah.
it? Bob the Builder. Yes, we can.
There is a
Scoop, Muck, and Dizzy. Rolly too. Lofty and Windy. Join the crew. Pilchard and Bird. Travis and Spud. Playing together like good friends should. Bob the
Should.
Builder.
This is recorded. Walt has
I
a
did
so
this
his,
when I
his
was
dad has a recording of him singing this at the age of 4.
With a
That's
speech
awesome.
impediment.
I have
Bob
seen
the
this one.
Builder. It's pretty
It's
exciting.
really cute.
It is really cute, but that show also absolutely slapped. That
Yeah.
was like,
Did.
I think it was kind of claymation,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that one was not terrifying. That was done right.
Yeah.
I remember one
It's
time.
like the Koala Brothers.
So I had one of the
Yes.
movies, the one where Bob's dad came in, and
I remember Bob's dad. It
And
was just
there-
Bob the Builder with gray hair.
yeah, it was. But there was I remember because there was like, so I was being, a little rascal.
Oh, a
as
bit
a
edgy,
kid.
huh?
And I was like, I wasn't behaving right, and I was like disrespecting my dad and stuff like that. And then
Ruh-roh.
later that day, I was watching the Bob the Builder movie that had his dad in it, and his dad was frustrating him, but he was like still being respectful. And my dad like came in the room and sat down next to me. When you see, even as an adult, when his dad is doing stuff that he doesn't like, he's still respectful. And I was like, but that's Bob the Builder. So you know what about the whole like, I wanted to say this earlier, but
Did we interrupt
conversation.
you?
No,
I'm
you
so
didn't
sorry.
interrupt me. I just didn't say it.
Dude.
You were fine, dude.
Okay.
Love you, brother.
You're being nice to me, and I don't know how to feel about this. Fuck you.
With the whole like Nickelodeon thing trying to make music stars, one story I find hilarious about that is the Victorious show. If you guys ever
Oh.
saw that,
That
because
one didn't
yeah.
go for very long.
No,
It was like another Hannah Montana.
It was good. I was obsessed.
Yeah, I also
because
love
with
that
Victorious, there was the main character, her name was Tori.
Clever. Oh my god, I get
and
it.
the show was about trying to make her a music star. All in all of the songs, she was the lead.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another character, Kat, who was played
Ariana
by
Grande.
Ariana Grande.
Oh,
who
woops.
actually became the music star. And there's
And
there's a
also
clip.
And also
Jade.
still looks like
Yeah.
she's 14.
Yeah.
So there's another character, Liz Giles.
I don't know her.
She was a Broadway star before she got to Victorious.
I didn't know that.
In younger, like she was in 13, which is a musical about 13-year-olds and all this kind of stuff. But Liz and Ariana were the two stars.
Yeah.
And Tori just kind of, but according to what the cast says, Tori wasn't great in terms of behavior.
I've
and
heard about
attitude.
that she kind of
Yeah.
like
Her
had this
ego
superiority complex and an ego.
And Ariana wasn't like that, which I think is why she kind of rose to fame. She had to play stupid, like real stupid.
Yeah, no, Kat
for the
was like
show.
the dumb one of the group, and
airhead.
they really
Like,
played into the dumb.
What's going on? Like so freaking stupid, but she's actually really smart and talented, really talented.
I saw a clip of an interview with all of the cast, and they're like talking about like singing, and they're like, yeah, so like out of the group, like who like sings the most, just just for fun and stuff like that. And every single cast member goes like, oh, Ariana, no. Like no question, it's Ariana, blah, and they're all saying that, and then Tori goes like, I mean, well, we all sing, so.
Oh my god, that's so annoying.
I think she hated that there was a show made for her,
and she wasn't the
then
best.
she wasn't the best. But like, she was taken from Zoe 101. That's
didn't
why
know
she
that.
wanted
Yeah.
this lead. So Zoe 101 had 2 seasons or 3, 2 or 3.
More than that, I think.
It wasn't much.
Yeah.
So the first season, Tori was not in it. Victoria Justice was not in it. And then the second season, she replaced one of the characters that left because of the abuse that Dan Schneider put her through.
Oh.
Her character name was Nicole. That's why I loved her so much. I was like, I've never seen a Nicole in shows before. And Nicole had to leave. And so they replaced her with Victoria Justice. And so she had at least 2 seasons on Zoe 101 where she was not a main character, but a co-star higher up in the, like...
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Dan's next thing. So after it was after Drake and Josh and Zoe 101 that he made iCarly and Victorious. And he
Yeah.
took those 2 characters, Carly being Megan from Drake and Josh, and
Yep.
Victoria or Tori from that show. I don't remember what her name was in Zoe 101. But he basically, if you look at like the series of Dan Schneider shows, he takes one character from each or 2 characters from each previous show and makes them famous. So
Yeah.
Drake and Josh came from the Amanda Show. Drake and Josh were
Oh.
co-stars on the Amanda Show.
That eliminates the hiring process, so that's kind of nice. You
And
already know
like
what they're
Zoe
going to be like.
101, Britney Spears was on all that. And her younger sister
Yeah.
is Jamie Lynn Spears, who was Zoe. Like Dan
Oh.
Schneider,
Look
he
how
just
they
kind of
turned
went.
out.
He went through what he already knew.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made his new shows. So Victorious was just Victoria Justice. And he didn't look into anybody else. He just hired these other people, Ariana Grande, Liz, whatever her last name is, and threw them in. And they ended up being more popular because they're actually more talented than the people
Yeah.
he picked.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about Wizards 101? Wizards 101. That was a MOBA. Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah.
Originally, Selena Gomez's character Alex, her older brother, he was originally going to be the star of the show.
David Henry?
Yeah, he was brought in. He originally had a contract with. He was originally working for Nickelodeon, and he was being paid more. Disney was like, "Hey, come work for us," and he was like, "Okay." And even though it was less money, I don't know why, but he signed a contract. But then when they were going through all the motions and stuff like that, they're like, "You know what? This show sucks," and they scrapped the whole idea.
Yikes.
And then they brought in Selena Gomez, and then they rewrote the entire concept and made Wizards of Waverly Place with Selena Gomez as the star. But they wanted him as a co-star, and he had to be in it because the contract he signed for the original
Oh.
show.
I mean, he did well.
did.
I always liked him more than her.
But
I crushed on him really hard.
he worked for, I'm pretty sure it was Nickelodeon originally, and he was making more money there.
Okay.
But because he had signed the contract for the show that he was going to star in, because I'm pretty sure that's the reason he was okay with going to Disney, was because when he was working for Nickelodeon, he hadn't starred in anything yet. He was just a co-star.
Oh, he was a clout goblin, huh?
So he was like, oh, I'm going to be the main character. And then they were like, nope, and bring in Selena Gomez.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are here for some reason other than Grid Engine, go check out Grid Engine. We work on cars.
It's pretty cool.
And yeah, outro song.